Welcome to Roche University's virtual presentation on the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, otherwise known as FERPA. As you know, when you apply to La Roche, you provide the admissions offices with a lot of information they need to admit you as a student to the university. And you may be familiar with the role of a registrar's office in providing the online portal that students use to register for classes each semester and for faculty to report grades. There is a lot of information that we maintain on each of our students, and this presentation is about the privacy of that information. The primary mission of the registrar's office is to be the recorder and keeper of all student records. It is the responsibility of our office to maintain a record of each student's academic progress and accomplishments, including the timely recording of all courses and grades, the accuracy of the information, and the privacy and security of the information. This covers not only your La Roche transcript, but the privacy of all personal student information that we maintain. This brings us to the topic of FERPA, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, a federal law that protects the privacy of student records. It was initially enacted to allow parents of students in grades K through 12 to access their child's educational records and was later amended to include any institution which is the recipient of federal funds, which in our case is federal financial aid. Besides access, FERPA grants the right to seek to amend any errors in the records and to exercise control over the release of those records. This law actually made it possible for schools K through 12 to develop the parent portals, which many of you are probably familiar with, which allows parents to log in and monitor test grades, homework assignments, and the like. This has allowed parents to take a very active role in a student's education. Students and parents find that this changes significantly at the college level because when a student reaches the age of 18 or attends a school beyond high school, FERPA rights transfer from the parent to the student. For La Roche, this means student records cannot be shared with parents without the permission of the student. The law also requires that we educate the La Roche community about their rights and responsibilities under FERPA, which is one of the reasons this topic is included here. So how is this important to parents? We know that La Roche is federally mandated to protect the student's right to privacy, and we have to take this very seriously since our access to federal financial aid for our students depends on it. For this reason, we like to stress that the issue of access to students' records is no longer between the parent and the institution, but between the parent and the student. FERPA does give students the right to grant permission to release their records to one or more designated third parties, typically parents. Students can sign the FERPA waiver form at any time in the office of the registrar. All waivers remain in effect until rescinded by the student. To be more specific about the records we maintain, FERPA allows institutions to distinguish between public and private records, referred to as directory and non-directory information, and to make this information available to all students. You can see here what is included under each category. Public records are those that are considered to be not harmful if released and therefore may be released without a student's permission. Those are listed under directory information on the slide. For example, and most importantly, looking at the list, FERPA allows us to report dates of attendance to verify that a student is currently enrolled. By providing this information to lenders on a regular basis, a student's loans will automatically stay in deferment as long as the student maintains half-time enrollment, which for undergraduate students is 6 credits per semester. We also provide enrollment and degree verification when requested by prospective employers trying to verify what has been listed on a resume. While students do have the right to suppress this information, students understand the importance of allowing this, so we currently have no students who have asked us to suppress directory information. And rest assured that we do not release information simply because it's requested. There has to be a legitimate purpose. Private records or non-directory information, on the other hand, if released, would be considered an invasion of privacy and potentially harmful to the student, and therefore we do not release it without the student's permission. We see on the slide that what is included in this category, including Social Security number, which is only collected as required by the federal government and never released, and it is only accessible to those employees with a legitimate need to know. Notice the list includes courses, grades, academic, and disciplinary actions. Can parents access a student's academic record without the student's consent? We often get this question from parents. What if I claim my student on my income tax? Ferpa does allow us, upon receiving a written request accompanied by a copy of a 1040 form, to release all information without a student's permission. It is important to note here that in my years at La Roche, we've never had this type of request, which tells us that parents and students are working together to share information. And finally, for any parents who might be watching, I'd like to share a website that I have personally found very helpful, and I thought you might also. It's called collegeparentcentral.com. They believe, as we do, that parents want to be involved and have a place in their students' college experience, and it's packed with a ton of good information. So I encourage you to write it down. It's really a great resource. And my advice to students is this. Be sure to check your La Roche email on a regular basis. This is the official way that we will be communicating with you as a student and ask that you communicate with us. Because you have to log into your La Roche email using your username and password, we can be assured that we're sharing your information with no one but you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation on the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to email us at registrar@laroche.edu.